is the bikini world, is it empowering or do you find it to be toxic?
It depends.
Hey guys, welcome to the first episode of Creature Feature, where we dig into what it takes to exceed and excel, not only physically, but mentally. I'm going to be here today with Lauren, joining us for our first episode. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Good. Doing great. Hi, everybody.
Happy to have you here. Lauren has been doing bodybuilding, I think, for the last 10 years more so.
Yeah,
10 years. So we're going to get into that a little bit today. Let's go ahead and talk about it. So what originally got you into bodybuilding? And what made you really want to do it, get into bikini? I said not only do it, but excel at it.
What got me into bodybuilding originally was bodybuilding.com, I guess we'll kind of go back. What originally got me into bodybuilding was I went to Ball State and they had this bodybuilding competition called Mr. and Miss Ball State, and I remember I had an ex-boyfriend whose best friend really wanted to go to it, and I was like, okay, why not? Let's go. I don't know what it's about, but let's just see. And then I remember seeing this girl up there, and she was huge. I didn't want to be that big, but she looked amazing, and she could press 70s. I've seen her in the gym dumbbell pressing 70s, and I was like, I want to look like that. I want to look good like that. And I was an athlete pretty much my whole life. Since I was 3, I was always doing some kind of activity from swimming, volleyball, gymnastics, just all the time. So I got to college and I was kind of at a loss. I didn't know what to do, and I was I was just kind of on the treadmill, every other girl, I'm just going to do cardio. And I was like, well, this isn't cool. I don't want to, I don't want to just do cardio all the time. So I wanted to lift weights. And after seeing that bodybuilding show, I got on bodybuilding.com and they had all these free programs. And I was like, I'm going to do one. So I did one and wanted to make sure that I could do it. And I think I did okay. I didn't do it great, but I did okay. And I was like, all right, I'm going to do it for a year. And then after that, I'll hire a coach. And the rest is kind of that history, I guess, with that.
Nice.
So.
Now, what was the first, just from some of us old bodybuilding.com heads, what was that first program you did? Do you remember it?
The first one I ever did was Jamie Eason's
I was
something.
wondering it was going to be Jamie Eason, because it was literally the girls' version was Jamie Eason. I feel and then Chris Gethin was the guy's version.
Yeah, I did Chris Gethin's too.
Yeah, so for all you old heads now that said they remember bodybuilding.com from way back when, you know what we're talking about.
Right,
so
right.
Yeah. Okay. But so let's think. So your first show, how did it feel mentally and physically? Was it what you thought was going to happen? How did you feel?
So my first show, I did Mr. and Miss Ball State, and I prepped myself. That's not even a real bodybuilding show. It is if you want to call it that, but it's not an NPC. It's not an actual division. It was just kind of for fun. So I did that and prepped myself, and I got 3rd out of 3, which was whatever. But I just kind of, I don't know. I just kind of did it, and I didn't follow the program completely. I definitely had sweets during it. Definitely had I remember one day my roommate's want some orange Julie's cookies, and I was like, yeah, why not? So I remember doing that, but I was still proud of myself, and it was nice because when I finally got on stage, I got to see what the other girls were looking like, and they were shredded. One girl was just to me she was this ex gymnast, and she was lean, shredded, looked good, and I was so that's how lean I need to be. Yeah. So I did that. Thought it was cool. I was all right, I can do this. So then I was all right, I'm for sure gonna I'm gonna go with my coach, and I'm gonna actually for real do an NPC show. And that one was cool. That one was I did a local show here in Indianapolis, and I got 2nd out of my class, but that still qualified me for nationals, and I was much better that time around. And then I actually won Mr. and Miss Ball State that year. So
hey, there we go.
Cool. Yeah.
Nice. So if you could put it in a nutshell, how would you say that your fitness how's your relationship with fitness evolved since then?
It's kind of my life. There's everything. I don't want to say everything revolves around fitness, but it's if I'm doing something, work, whatever, fitness has to be involved, or it has to accommodate for my fitness schedule, because sometimes we'll spend 5 hours in here easily sometimes, and I don't know. I just don't I remember working a full-time job, and it wasn't bad. I think people can totally do it, the full-time job. But for me, I started working part-time, but I kind of finessed it. So my job right now is I work 12 hours. Our 12 hours, 2 shifts, and then I do a weekend option, so you get an incentive for doing that. So I just kind of everything has to work with fitness, if that makes sense. Yeah. So
No, I get you. Yeah. So like, let's go back to like Lorn or that first show. Like,
Okay.
what's something that you wish somebody would have told you that you didn't know back then that you know now? Like I said, with all the progress and all like the shows that you've done.
That you're gonna have to be really lean, like really, really lean, because I think you'll look at pictures and you're like, okay, I'm gonna be that lean, and like it'll like show. I don't know if you've seen it before, but like when it has like, okay, this is 10% body fat, this is 15% body fat, 20 or something like that, and like you could even like for a female like look at the 10% body fat one and be like, I want to be that lean, and then like you get on stage and they're like, get leaner, like they're like get leaner
it's
than
not
that.
enough yet.
Yeah,
keep pushing.
Yeah.
Okay. So like, when it comes to extremes, like I said, what would you say is the hardest prep that you've had to do and why?
Two of them, I would say.
Okay.
The first one was during COVID, and that one was just hard because it was so long. Like it was just like I would get there, or like I was like I had it in my head like, okay, I'm gonna prep in June, and like June is when I'm gonna prep, and then you get like 6 weeks out, and they're like, nope, we're canceling it, and you're like, all right, cool, and then like, well, or like we're not canceling it, we're gonna postpone it and push it back to like August or something like that, and then they just kept pushing it back and pushing it back and pushing it back. So being in prep for that long with no like goal in mind, I guess that was a little taxing, I think, but it was cool because that was also the first prep I did where I actually like really got like really, really lean, like veins in my glutes lean kind of thing. And I was like, all right, so this is what it is. And then and then my second prep was after nursing school, and that was hard just because I gained a lot of weight in nursing school, so it was just like I had to do a whole entire like completely change my body again, completely start over. It felt like spent a lot of time just getting lean again. So that just took a really long time, but I did look my best for that prep. It was just like kind of like mentally knowing that, all right, I'm going to be in prep for like a year and a half. Like that's literally what it took. So it was just, that one was hard just because it was also long, but it was just.
You're just juggling so many other aspects of your life at the same time. With like coming out of school and everything. Yeah,
starting a new job, just everything. It was just there was just so much to it. And like I even I had a show planned in December and then ended up having to push it back to I think it was probably July or something like that, because I was just like nursing. I'm a nurse, by the way, but like nursing orientation is 3 months long, and it's 3 months of like it is intense, and like I've only worked ICU, so coming fresh from being like a baby nurse to like full blown like sick patients, like it was just I could not do it and do 2 hours of cardio a day. So
no, because I mean, and that's what's going to lead us into the next thing, because we're talking about more like that. The physical aspect was physically hard. Being in bodybuilding and during this time, but when it comes to, because you got to lean down and you have to have that look and everything, but what a lot of aspect that people don't think about is like, how do you mentally keep it together? Like you have the vision, right? And I said you're looking for that physique, but like the mental, and we talked a little bit before we started, is like how, like that's so much of it. Like how do you stay mentally sharp through all of that?
I don't know if I do sometimes, but I don't know. I think it was honestly like the more preps I do, the better it gets. Like the first prep I did was in college, and I think that like by the time I did it, I was like a senior in college. So it's like I had a grasp on how like school worked, and I knew how to do things. But like when you're trying to introduce something new, sometimes it's a little hard to do, just because like you get like insane brain fog. Like I don't even know how to. It's like they call it like prep brain, where it's just like I don't know, you'll just be sitting there and it's just like someone said something that just goes over your head, like But I think with repetition it gets better, and then like the fact that like you're like I'm getting better every single time I do it, that also kind of helps you keep that like motivation to be like, all right, like stay on top of it, do what you need to do like in life, and then also like just keep getting better. Because
I assume it's probably just like you're like, all right, like the first time you're in the fog, you're like, I don't know, we're going to traverse this, I don't know how, but like after a couple times of being in that fog, you're like, okay, we're here again. Like I remember what this is like now, and now like I know how to like to move forward, but it's still like obviously probably not fun at all. But so like just kudos to like going through that whole process. So like one thing also I think a lot of people don't think about when it comes to the bodybuilding is like you take all these weeks out of your life, you're prepping, you're in this fog, you go up on stage, you have your day. But the aftermath,
Yeah.
like how do you deal with like the blues of like coming back off the stage, having a little bit of that weight rebound, dealing with maybe like I said, being okay with like putting the weight back on, like how do you deal with that?
That's another repetition thing because like the first time, like anybody who is interested in bodybuilding, just know you're gonna completely like mess up like the reverse the first time.
Yeah.
Like you're gonna gain like, and not everybody's gonna do it, but like 9 times out of 10 or like 8 out of 10, like you're gonna completely like just fuck up the reverse. Like you're gonna,
yeah.
you're gonna like,
Just be okay with fucking up. It's like just
pretty
know
much.
that.
Yeah, but you're gonna gain like 20 pounds of like water weight. You're gonna not look right. But then like again with repetition, it gets better. And then I've also learned that like try to eat something like that is very similar to what your diet is afterwards. Like so after the show, you're like, yeah, I get to eat. And like for me, what works the best is sushi. Like my first meal has to be like a big crazy amount of like sushi because that's just almost identical to what I'm eating. And then like maybe the next day, then I can introduce pizza and a little bit of like, I don't know, cake or whatever, cookies. But like you have to try to not go crazy. And then another thing that helps is just like setting another goal like almost immediately, just like maybe not another show but like maybe a photo shoot or like something like that way you're like, all right, I can stay in shape and still look good and not go crazy, because if not then like it's hard to not go crazy and then like all your friends are like, you can finally eat with us again, come eat with us again, and you're like, yeah I'm gonna come eat with you. Like
it's like kind of but not really.
Yeah.
Like in a way. Like okay, interesting. So more or less just like be okay with not being okay coming out of it. Because it's probably going to be tough.
Yeah, the first especially. And then like even like with other competitors, like I remember it's kind of cool because like you get to make a lot of friends like all over the country with it. And like one of the girls, I've been friends with her. I was friends with her for years, like maybe like 5 years at the time. And I only knew her online and we just happened to do a show together. So I was like, I'm going to hang out with her. And like I was like, sushi. And then she's like, no, I'm doing pizza. And then like I just fell off. Like I was like, I don't even care.
Not even a real friend.
Yeah.
No shade to this friend. Pizza's a valid choice too, I'd say probably. So if you had to like to have a take, would you say that like is the bikini world, is it empowering or do you find it to be toxic?
It depends on your like personal like. You have to be okay, like, with yourself, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And actually, I know, because there have been people that I've tried to coach, and, like, sometimes, like, they'll think, like, oh, my God, like, they go to bad foods. They're like, bad foods. I can't have this food because it's a bad food. And I'm like, it's not. Like, it's not. You have to really understand that, like, this is a sport. And it, like, like with, like, track and field. Like, like, okay, hurdles is very different from, like, I don't know, shot put, So it's like you're going to train totally different for that, if that makes sense. But like, I don't know, explain it. Like, it's like you don't want to like make when I think in the case of like bad foods anyway, you don't want to be like, okay, this is bad food, but you have to think like, this is food that's going to get me to my goal, and then if I have like a piece of cake, like that's not going to get me to my goal. So it's a fine line. Like, it really is a fine line, and you have to mentally like know and like be very objective about it, and just know that like, hey, my goal is this. And then like when it comes to the judging aspect of it, like you have to really know like the judges are not. It's not personal. Like, it's definitely not personal. So you have to like. You have to remove yourself from it. So like they're gonna be like, you're not tight enough. Like that's gonna be a thing, and then like you're gonna be like, oh my God, they think I'm fat, and it's like, no, they don't. You just like, there's a criteria, and you need to meet that criteria. So
Okay. Yeah. Interesting. So we talked about it a little bit. So you are also a nurse.
Yeah.
Right. How long have you been doing nursing now?
3 years now.
Okay. And like, so you've obviously had to like study a lot. You've gained a lot of medical knowledge over the time that you studied and have been like a nurse. You're an ICU nurse, which must be wild, I imagine, from time to time. So how do you think that like that knowledge that you've gained in that time, how has that changed the way you approach like your training, your recovery, supplementation?
A lot of it goes into like, I mean, when I take it to like an ICU version, it's like, it's more health driven, obviously. So that's when it's just kind of like a general fitness thing where you'll see somebody, and granted, some of the stuff is just chronic, or some of the stuff is like, they had no control over it. But sometimes you're like, if like, maybe like when you get home, let's make some lifestyle changes. It's like you're recovering from this, like, let's, maybe start working out a little bit, maybe start eating a little bit better, like no more fried food, no more this, no more that, depending on like what got them there. It just kind of makes me look at like, when I look at the general fitness, I'm like, hey, like I see, like we've had it before where somebody who was like came in, and they had like these big, like fat, giant quads, like not fat, but just like meaty, like quads.
Yeah. Just
and then you think of like the little old lady or something like that who never did anything ever, and you kind of see the difference. Like they could be the same age, and like the difference in recovery, and you're like the people who like work out are a lot more resilient to some of these things versus the people who don't, where they like deteriorate and it happens like fast and crazy. So that's where like sometimes I try to like chime in a little bit, but it can be hard in a medical setting because like like in a medical setting, like when I'm there, I'm like, I'm the nurse, like I know what I'm talking about, like, like listen to me. But then if I start bringing fitness in there, then people try to fight me on it, and they're like, oh, no, I know better. I'm like, dude.
As if it's like some kind of gray area to them, and it's more of a matter of an opinion versus like, I've seen this work in practice as well. It's like, even if you don't believe me,
Right, yeah.
That goes great into the next thing I was going to ask you. So like between like the hospital and the gym, like what's a common myth that you see that people like perpetuate in those spaces when it comes to fitness?
Between the two, or like at the hospital, it's a myth.
You can do hospital, gym, or in both if you want to, or how you want to break it down. But is there a myth that, like, is there something that a fitness myth that people like to apply that you see? That,
like cardio. Like I feel like I've seen that like both in like even like myself when I first started, and like I'll see not necessarily patients, but maybe like their families, and they're like, I don't really like lifting weights. I'm getting more out of lifting weight, or I don't get anything out of lifting weights. Like I get more out of doing more cardio, and then I'm like, but you're weak. And I'm not saying you need to be like super strong, but I'm just
some
like
resistance training, like so something in there. That makes sense. And that's like, I think it's even something that we've been doing more or less fitness stuff for like the last decade or so, that I feel like we're seeing like a better shift towards people getting more into resistance training, not being so afraid of it, especially like from what I've been able to see is like in the female community. Like I remember like everybody was like girls were really into cardio like back then, but like I feel like now more than ever you're seeing people being unafraid to go pick up some weights and put some muscle on, and I love how like that's just become a thing.
Right.
So I love how like that's like in my eyes has been like something that's at least been getting like a little dispelled over time because it's held strong for so long.
Right. So,
yeah.
Or I have a client who's in his 60s, and like he says like he's like, if I knew back then what I did now, like what I know now, it would have been so different. Like he was in the military, and he's like, man, I wish I was lifting weights while I was in the military or something like that. And, I'm like, yeah, that would have been awesome. But like back then it would be like, he's like, oh, you just want to do like the little, like, I don't know, like fitness wise, like the fitness guys were like, they just think like roided out monsters pretty much, like not like just like lift to like just be healthy, like but
there was some like middle ground that they could have been in. I think one thing that always makes me laugh too is just thinking about how far like protein flavors and like bars or like supplement flavors have come in the last like 10 years. It used to be so rough at the beginning, man. Like straight up like dirt. Like I remember like the Metrics bars at the very beginning, and just having, like just being like bricks and trying to.
What was that one? Like they sell it at Walmart. They might still sell it at Walmart, but it was like the orange and black container. And I remember that one used to be like absolute trash. Like it's probably still not the best, but it's like it's much better now from what.
I think like across the board, supplement industries have come so far flavor profile wise because like the kids these days don't know how rough it used to be. Trying to hit your macros back then, like just like suffering through. Remember, like everybody would get Quest bars, and they would put them in microwaves because they were so hard at first.
They still are hard. I feel they still are like really tough, and like, I still like them, but like they're still like I'll eat them. I'm like, this one's better than the other one. I guess
you need to get your act together because your bars are still hard. It's been 10 years, man. Come on,
for real, seriously.
So between, let's say, obviously you're busy at ICU nurse, you're also like a bikini competitor. Like how do you really balance all that stress, like from like your shift work and your training intensity? Like how do you really like make it work?
Like I said, it's my schedule. Like like I'm really fortunate with being a nurse. Is like we have a bunch of different options that we can work. So you can work like it's called PRN, which just means like as needed. You can do a weekend option, which is just like you can do a full-time or a part-time, where it's just like you just work on the weekend and you have your 5 days off, or you can do the part-time, which is just the 24 hours. So there's a lot of options that you can do, and like for me, like I said, I chose to do the weekend option where it's like I work Saturday, Sunday, I get paid as if I work 3 days because I chose that option, and then I have 5 days off during the week. So that helps me balance it. But then I did work night shift for a while, 3 days a week, and like that was a lot more regimented. Like it was like I'd go to sleep and then I'd wake up 2 hours later, go work out, and then I'd sleep maybe like 4 or 5 hours to try to get 6 hours in. So yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
That one was rough.
Yeah, that does not sound enjoyable, but
it was,
like if you made it out the trenches at least, right?
mean, I don't know how I did it, but like I did my best prep that way. So it just like as long as you figure out the repetition, then it works, and figure out what schedule works, it's fine. But it's a lot.
Yeah, sounds like it.
Yeah.
So now it's time for some supplement talk.
Yeah.
What's your current supplement stack and why?
Current supplement stack. I do take creatine because I like how it makes your muscles bubbly. Who doesn't like creatine?
Yeah.
You know,
We
and then
love
like
bubbly muscles,
right? And then like girls are like, I want glutes to be bubbly. I'm like creatine, like you know, that's what does
Incorporate
it.
It's like the most researched thing ever.
Yeah,
Come on.
yeah.
Get together, guys.
Yeah. I'm like that's like the most simple thing to have. That a fish oil because joints and a protein supplement. Depending on where I am, like if I'm cutting or not, like I like to take thyrine, and that just kind of helps keep your thyroid levels good. And then it also like has a little bit of caffeine in it too, so your energy levels are pretty high with that. Like it's like I only take one pill because like it tells you to take two, but I can only ever take one just because like it's a lot.
Yeah.
I think when I like look back on all my preps, like I've been taking that since my first prep, and that like I did a prep with it, and then the next prep I did without it, and like it was like night and day, and I did the exact same thing. So I never take that out. Yeah, it's amazing. It's like an enhanced cortisol thyroid support.
Oh, okay.
So
Yeah,
it's
nice.
just or thyroid support, not thyroid, but like it's really awesome. What else do I take? I've been pretty simple with my that's pretty much it now. I used to do like a whole bunch for like magnesium. When I'm in prep, there's ALA, which is an antioxidant because you're not getting any of those. At some point, like they're gonna cut out your blueberries, so you don't get that anymore.
Yeah. Hate it when they take my blueberries away.
Dude, it's the worst.
Yeah.
No, the worst is when they take
worst.
like when your fats are too low and I can't have peanut butter anymore. Like that is when it is the worst. But it's good because
That's rock bottom for me, man.
Yeah.
Somebody takes my peanut butter away, we're fighting.
I know, and I don't know about you, but I'm kind of like a peanut butter snob too. So I'm like, it has to be like a certain kind of peanut butter, and it has to be like I like natural peanut butter, and then like we go into like craft peanut butters, and
I stand bee's knees all day. Do you know bee's knees?
no.
So it's a I can't remember what the company makes it, but like they go ahead and mix peanut butter with honey.
Oh, okay.
It's really good.
Really?
It's very dangerous
Have
to
you
put in your
had
household.
what is it? The peanut butter at Whole Foods with a little. So it's like a little peanut butter maker, like dispenser, and it's like got the peanuts in the top, and like
I've seen these before.
Okay.
I've never been adventurous enough to do them.
Really?
Like you just like pull it and it pulls out peanut butter?
Yeah, you just it's like a button that you push. It's like down the street, but like you just like it's a little button that you push, and it's like honey roasted peanuts.
Hey, can we cut? I need to go get some peanut butter, I think.
Such good peanut butter.
Yeah, I'll be right back,
So
guys.
good.
Hold on. Yeah, that sounds amazing. I'm sure it tastes really good. It's very natural.
Oh my God, so good, so good.
Interesting. Learning peanut butter facts today. Didn't
Dude,
know I was going to be on. Yeah.
I spent a lot of time with peanut butter.
Me too.
Yeah.
So, what role would you say that creatine plays though in your overall performance or recovery?
It makes me like it's simple. Like I said, it makes you look good. It makes me stronger, and it helps with my recovery. And then like helps with like your brain or like brain function too. So it's kind of like, especially in prep, like it helps. And like you may not notice that it helps, but like every little bit does help. So
anything. I say
Yeah.
Especially like in those trenches time. I'm sure you're like, I'm holding on to anything I can get right now.
Yeah.
So do you ever like think about like the longevity game over aesthetics game though when it comes to choosing your supplements?
Do I ever think like longevity versus aesthetics? Yeah, I do. Yeah, that's the number one thing. It's like if I'm in prep, then obviously it's pretty much all aesthetic. Like this is nice because it helps with this, and this is nice because it does that. But like ideally, it is all a longevity thing. Like at the end of the day, I don't think I'm gonna. I will compete for as long as I can, but that's not gonna be forever. So. Like, yes, you want longevity. And even in the sport, it's like everything you do, you want to do longevity because you don't want to have any injury or anything like that. So,
yeah, because I mean, I think that's something that comes, obviously with time, you learn that, like, obviously you're chasing a goal. But if you chase it so hard that you injure yourself, then you're inevitably not going to be able to achieve that goal anyway.
Right.
It's like that play that's like not so, I wouldn't say slow and steady, but you try to balance between the two is like what I think is the most done.
Yeah.
So, last question, the supplement side. If you could only keep one supplement in your stack for life, what would it be and
Only
why?
one.
Just have one. You gotta
One.
choose.
You know, I'm not gonna lie, creatine. I do like creatine. So,
Creatine it is.
it's pretty awesome, but it's between creatine and fish oil would be like my top two. I think just because those two, like again, creatine just like it works, like it helps.
Yeah.
It's awesome. And then fish oil, I just like my joints are bad. So it just helps a lot.
Felt.
I get a lot of joint pain. I get a lot of joint pain. So it's just like that would be the main reason I keep that. So
Yeah. It's tough out here with the joint pain people, but like I said, once you've been doing it for long enough, you're just like, this is a part of my life now. But fish oil, does make it a little bit easier. So.
Yeah. No, I always forget that like me and you are the same age too. So it's I'm like, okay, wait, no, he gets it when I say like, okay, my like this hurts, like or like But like I know I thought you were younger for the longest time, so I was like, okay.
I thought you were younger too. So I guess we're just out here.
We look great. No, I'm kidding.
It's all the creatine.
It's all the creatine.
Creatine, be youthful forever.
Yeah.
So we're gonna get into some raw questions here.
Okay.
All right, it's gonna be a little bit more serious. Are you ready?
Yeah. Well, let's go.
So when it comes to bodybuilding, it's tough. Let's say you've prepped multiple times. So you've been doing it while going to school. You've been an ICU nurse. Like, has there ever really been a moment where you're like, I think I kind of want to quit?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Especially like after like my last prep was like one of the harder preps, and the issue wasn't that I didn't prep right, it was that I didn't peak right. So peaking is an art form. Peaking is an art form in and of itself. So when it's not done right, then like you can look your best, you can have the best results, you can have everything, and then like you go on stage and they're just like, you didn't do it right, you don't look good enough, come back next time. And like it's such a financial strain to do bodybuilding, like this, especially on a national level. So it's like all the travel and then all the supplements, all the food, everything. It's a lot. The suits, like for us, are like $600. Like we're talking like for women, it's $600. Men's are like
crazy.
Men have like $20 and they get this little like.
It's like 600. Wow,
Yeah.
I didn't know that the discrepancy. I mean, I figured there was going to be a discrepancy.
Yeah.
But 600 to like nothing is when it's about the same amount of fabric, and if we're like being like honest, like
I mean, like it's covered in it's bedazzled. It's covered in like I can't say that word ever. Swarovski crystals. It's beautiful. Like they always like. If you get a good suit, it'll be your suit, but then you're like, well, I want to change it up. So then that's another $600 or another something. So it can be a strain sometimes. So like I think I've had moments where I was like, well, do I really like doing it? And do I really want to do it? And it's like, well, that just means I need a break right now. So it's like, I will still bodybuild and like train like a bodybuilder, but like I just actually need a break and I need to just change up my physique, change up some things, and then I'll come back. So.
Just a little reset, right?
Yeah.
Reset.
Yeah.
I was gonna say because like obviously, like I said, you've had these hard times where you've thought about but like in the end, you came back.
Yeah.
So like in those moments, like what kept you going?
I think it's just like the athlete in me. Like I really like the challenge. Like I'm like it's just I want to get better each time or like get know so. That's what keeps me going with it. And then like again, that's like the aesthetic thing. Like I like it's vain, but I like to look good. So like that's what I do it for you.
We all. I mean, that's why we're here.
Right.
We're in a medium where I said we're trying to like better ourselves.
Yeah.
Whether it's aesthetically or the numbers on the bar.
Right.
But like we're all chasing something, so there's no vanity really, like I said, involved
That's
in
true.
the overall idea of it. It's just like life is just a project to better yourself. Like that's what we're doing, right?
Right.
So,
Yeah.
So. Another one. What's one thing you wish women in the fitness industry knew about themselves?
Knew about themselves. Just I feel like that they can just do it, like just get after it. Like, and it doesn't have to be like strength training or weight training, but I'm just like just be active. I feel like a lot of women like they think gym and they're like ugh, or they think fitness and they're like ew, and I'm like no, just do it. Like there's so much benefit to actually doing it versus not doing it. So and there's so much research that points to the fact that like doing like being active, physically active in some kind of way is better than not being physically active. So I just want more people to be physically active.
Yeah,
So,
no, for
yeah.
sure. Okay, and last hard-hitting question for the moment. What's your why? Like
My
on those days that like you have to like pull yourself up, make it happen. What's your why? What makes you go, you know, on those hardest days to get in and make it happen?
I think a lot of it just has to do with like proving it to myself. Like, you know, like how far can I really go? You know, like I think that's the why. So like you'll have those hard days and you're like, okay, well if I cheat, then like I'm not going to go as far as I could go. So that's really what pushes me to like do better. And especially again, like I said, those brain fog days and then I worked or something like that. Like you're just like, just lay down and like, you know, like if you're having like a really bad craving, like those pass in like 15 minutes. So it's just kind of like lay down, like let that like pass. And then like afterwards you're like, all right, I did that. Like, let's just get back on track.
Yeah. Okay. Now, if you had to say that there's something like one brutal truth about the fitness industry that nobody wants to say out loud, but everybody's thinking, what is it?
Oh, that's a hard one.
Yeah.
A brutal truth, like fitness industry as a whole, or like bikini, bodybuilding, or like.
So it's like more or less like think about like if a brutal truth that like if you want to be successful in fitness, whether it be, I mean, I guess like in whole, if you want to make it about bikini, like make it about bikini, like or just like anything like within the fitness, if you want to, you know, make it a big thing or like a specific thing, like what is that brutal truth that people don't talk about or aren't willing to say, but it's everybody kind of knows.
I feel like they're willing. It's gonna be hard. Like, you know, like it's gonna be really, really, really hard. And I think people do say that, but I think like when people start off, what kind of deters them is that like they start doing it and like maybe like I'll just see it from like a bikini standpoint. Like a lot of girls are like, I want to look like a bikini competitor and I want to do what it takes to look like a bikini competitor, but I don't want to compete. But I'm like, okay, so that means that you want to train and eat just like a bikini competitor to look like one. And they're like, yeah, that's what I want to do. And I'm like, okay, that's still going to be really hard. Like, even if you're not going to get on stage, like to look like them is still really hard. Or like, or even if it's like weightlifting or powerlifting, like if you want to look like that, like that still takes a lot of food, a lot of work, a lot of rest, a lot of like time, like and energy. And you're going to be like dead tired and not be able to go out like you like to do or whatever. Like, it's going to be hard and it's going to require sacrifice. And like, it's really, really going to require sacrifice. Like, you know, like I think that's the thing. Like, if that's the goal that you have, you know.
Yeah. So like falling, like they love the idea, but they don't fall in love. You have to fall in love with the process,
right?
Though, too,
yeah.
right? Kinda,
yeah. Like if you want to, like again, something I want to deadlift, like you know, like if a girl's like I want to deadlift 600 pounds, like that's gonna require a lot to do it, you know, or like I don't know what the what your weightlifting goals are, but like you know, I'm sure it requires a lot to get there, you know. So
yeah, no, 100%. So now we're going quick fire, right? So we're just going to shoot them off the dome, and I want to hear your unfiltered response for it. So first, most overrated fitness trend.
Those little have you? I don't know if you've seen them on TikTok. But like, the second like someone told me this, I was like, I know what it is. But okay, you know those old school gyms that like there was like the gyms in the 1950s, and it's like the women on these like shaker
things. Yeah,
those have like made like a research. Like I've seen them on TikTok. Like people are buying them.
It's like standing on them and just shaking
and
their
it
body.
Shakes you.
I've seen these. Yes,
and
it's crazy.
A girl that I work with bought one. She's like, I bought one so I can get in shape, and I was like, you're not doing anything. Like it's the thing, just. Like I feel like that is overrated. Like stop buying that. I don't know what it is, but don't buy it.
Shaking is overrated, guys.
Yeah,
just move your body.
Yeah, I mean you can shake yourself, I guess.
Yeah.
But like
shake it. Yeah. Okay, most underrated recovery method.
Ice baths.
Ice baths.
Ice bath. A sauna.
Bang.
Ice bath. Yeah.
She was on that one, guys. That was straight off the dome, straight to the point.
Yep.
Ice baths.
Yeah, amazing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, mindset mantra in one sentence.
Mindset mantra. It's like just do it. Like
just do it.
Just do it. Like, and I know it's easy. Like
Nike,
you know,
not a sponsor, but
no,
not yet. Not yet.
But
yeah.
But no. Like if you like, you know, like life is short, you know. So like if you really want to do something, then like just do it. Like don't.
Yeah, stop
just
limiting
push it.
yourself.
Yeah.
Just go out and get it if you want it.
Exactly.
Make it happen.
Exactly. Yeah.
I totally feel that.
Yeah.
Well, so Lauren, where can people follow you on your journey?
They can follow me on Instagram, it's Lorn TM Fit, and I have a TikTok. It's Lorn Taylor, at Lorn Taylor. So.
Okay, Lauren. So, what's next, though?
What's next is I'm actually going to be spending a lot more time focusing on like the science of health and fitness and longevity. So that's kind of where a lot of like working in the hospital kind of just triggered me for that. You just see a lot of people deteriorate, and there are multiple ways to help prevent that or slow that. Like, and I remember I had a patient who was and it was just like, they were like, we can't do anything for you. And then his son was actually like, well, one of the nurses was like, maybe, what about like, I'm a little controversial, but like, how about stem cells? How about peptides? How about this? How about that? And I was like, you know what? I actually want to spend some time really learning about that, because I may not be able to talk about it at work. I can kind of like lead them in a direction and be like, these are options, and you should look at them.
Yeah.
And I want to be I want to be more like well versed in that, like because like there's been so much research on how peptides can help. If we go into bodybuilding, like we know what bodybuilding is. It's not a drug-free zone necessarily, but for women in that case, like there are so many side effects that they have, and for me, I don't like those side effects. So I'm like, okay, so what are the alternatives? Like, what else can we do? Because there are women who are competing, not having any side effects, not having like the voice dropping, not having the big jaws, like, and I want to learn more about that. I want to be able to educate more people on that. So I am spending a lot of time learning more about that right now, and
that's awesome.
Yeah,
honestly, that's super, like I said, intriguing. Like you're making yourself a more well-rounded individual in your whole fitness journey, and like I said, helping people along the way. And I think that's great.
Yeah. Do that, and I like that it'll help. Help competitors and help like the average person who just wants like for example, like a lot of women have low testosterone. They don't know that, and then like they can get like healthy supplementation with the doctor, with everything, completely like legal, everything. And that just helps them with their day to day, especially older women, like they'll get really sick and they're not knowing why, they'll get really frail. And then it could just be that they have low testosterone. So I just want to learn more about that.
I didn't know that. So you've already taught me something today. So like I said, love that.
Yeah.
All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in today for the first episode of Creature Feature. We'll be coming at you guys every week with new athletes talking about new things. I just want to thank Lauren for joining us today, being our first person today. And so just make sure you follow, share, and subscribe if you like this episode, and we'll catch you guys next time. Thanks.